So I want to welcome you back, Mr. Tracy. I appreciate you coming back. And I want to start by asking you this. Have you ever met a business person or an individual who's allergic to making money?
No, everybody wants to make more money for a simple reason is that money equals freedom. It means that you can make a choice without worrying about the price. 80% of people worry about the price and money all the time. They
Mm.
go to sleep at night worrying about money. They wake up in the morning worrying about money. They talk about money at the family dinner table, and they're always thinking about their having too many bills and too little money. So everybody wants to earn enough money. And here's the goal of life is to earn enough money so that you never worry about money again. That's your goal. Now, if you set that as a goal, then you're going to achieve that goal as long as you stay with the single goal. 20% of people earn 80% of the money in any business or industry, the 80-20 rule. That means 20% of people on average earn 10 times as much as the bottom 80%. Why? It's because they think all day long about earning more money. Now, the thing that you and I have found is the only way you, as a business owner, entrepreneur, salesperson, can earn more money is by selling more of your product or service. When I started off speaking many years ago, I was giving a talk on personal development, personal success, feeling good about yourself, high self-esteem, self-confidence. And this is great stuff. And everybody said, this is great stuff. I like it very much, but I need to know how to sell more of my product so I can earn more money. So finally I said, okay, I've been in sales for 20 years. I will design a sales training program and I will write it and record it and start to give it. That program became so popular. Millions of people in 84 countries went to that seminar. And it was called The Psychology of Selling. And it was so popular that my promoters would fill rooms with 1,000, 2,000 people because I gave them a very simple process, like a recipe. If
Yep.
you follow the recipe, you make more sales. And more people became millionaires with the psychology of selling program than any other single influence in the world. And this is a result of research and worldwide. It went into 20, 30 languages and people everywhere. One company in Germany, a major financial company, put 25,000 people through the program.
Wow.
Another company in the US put another 25,000 people through the program. It went to millions of people and they became rich. I was speaking to one of my clients recently, and I told him about this statistic, and he said, "Well, that would explain my life because when I first heard psychology of selling, I was struggling. I worried about money all the time." He said, "Today I'm rich. Today I'm a millionaire. I have 36 people working for me, generating commissions." He said, "I'll never have to worry about money again because I finally learned how to sell properly." So
Mm.
here's the wonderful discovery is that all skills are learnable. That means if you want to become excellent at anything, all you have to do is learn the skill. It's not easy. It's hard work. It may take you a year or 2 or 3 years of hard work, but it is a learnable skill. Earning money is a learnable skill.
Right. You're not
Today,
born knowing how to do it, right? Which means anyone can learn it.
that's right. Today, there are more millionaires than have ever existed in history. When I began speaking in the late 90s, there were about 5 million millionaires in North America. Today, there's almost 35 million millionaires. Somebody becomes a millionaire every 5 or 8 minutes. Same
Wow.
in every other country that has entrepreneurship and sales and products and services. People are becoming millionaires faster today than ever before. Now, I read a program called Getting Rich in Business, and I said the number one requirement for you to become wealthy is to make a decision to become wealthy, and
Mm,
then back the decision with a plan and work on your plan all day, every day, until it's as easy and automatic as breathing. To get up in the morning and you go straight to work. Fully 50% of people, the bottom 80%, waste most of their time at work. They come in and they talk to their friends and they play with their computer and so on. But
have a
successful
coffee. Yeah.
start work immediately. So
They hit
what
the
one
ground running.
yeah, they start work immediately, hit the ground
Mm,
running, and they work all day long. Someone says, "Have you got a minute to talk?" They say, "No, I have the work to do. We can talk after work, but right now, back to work. I've got to get back to work. I've got to get results."
right.
Peter Drucker, the great management guru, said the most important word in business is results. You need to think all the time, what results are expected of me? What do I need to do now to get more and better and faster results? And that must become a burning obsession. Results, results, results. And if you're talking to your friends, you're not getting any results. So stop doing it.
Mm,
We say that self-discipline is the most important requirement for success. And self-discipline means to say no to anything that is not getting results during the working day.
right.
One of the richest men in the world is Warren Buffett, and Warren Buffett has been interviewed so many times. He was
Yep.
asked recently, "What is your secret to success?" He started with nothing. He has now, today he's worth about $36 billion, which is not bad.
Not bad.
And he said, "My secret to success is very simple." He said, "I just say no to everything that is not the two or three things that I can do that are the most valuable. I just say no to everything." So if you want a rule for success from now on, decide that you want to earn the very most amount of money in your work and just say no to everything that is not the most valuable use of your time. So
Mm,
these are the things that we teach successful people. And
yeah.
it's amazing. People spend their time with people who are going nowhere and want the
Mm,
company. No, what you do is you spend your time with people who are ambitious and driven and determined to be successful. And if you do that, you're going to earn more money in the next year than any other time in your life.
you know, my dad used to say, Brian, that if you want to know who someone is, just ask him who his friends are.
That's true. That's true.
Because you are a
They
product of the company you keep to some extent, right?
Well, one of the things that they say, good point, is that your income will be the average income of the five people that you spend the most time with.
Mm,
So you think, who are
never
my
that.
five closest friends? If I think of that, fortunately, all of them are wealthy.
Mm,
And spend time with wealthy people, you may not even talk about money, but just being around wealthy people changes the way you think about your life and your work. You'll notice that those people are organized, they're focused, they're concentrated, they read all the time.
right.
Warren Buffett spends 5 hours a day reading in his business, 5 hours a day. Bill Gates is the fifth richest man in the world. He reads 2 books a week, two business books a week. And so I ask this question to my friends. I say, "How many business books a week do you read?" You know what the average is? One a year.
Yeah, I
The
was going to say
average
zero.
person reads one nonfiction book per year, and they don't understand. This is why you are worried about money all the time. What a
Mm,
terrible way to live. What a terrible way to live, to go to sleep and wake up worrying about money. And you have to make a decision that I am going to become wealthy. And then you have to do something every day that moves you toward becoming wealthy. And nothing can stop you. And I say this to my audiences. My audiences average about 1,600 people. So I say, and nobody can stop you from becoming wealthy. And then I say, wait, geez. Yes, yes, I'm sorry. There is one person who can stop you from becoming from becoming wealthy. And everybody goes, and I said, and who is that? And everybody does, well, you did it, pointed at
Yeah,
who's
100%. Yeah, I can appreciate that. I wonder, you can do a seminar, you can give people tools, but would you agree that many speakers just speak, but then they don't give people really sound practical things to walk away with? So the audience doesn't actually do anything different?
well, they talk about fast food or junk food. Well, sometimes people, speakers give what we call junk food for the mind,
Mm,
fast food for the mind. It's like popcorn, it's like candy. It's entertaining and sort of enjoyable and stories and things like that. I remember early in my career, I was invited to come to this top speaker. He was speaking for about 300 people in the automobile industry. And I took my yellow pad. I never go anywhere without my yellow pad. I write down notes. And I wrote it there, and I started to write notes. After 3 hours, I had 3 notes because all he did was talk about stories, story and joke and humor and story and his own life. And many speakers think that their personal story is of great interest to everybody. And I resolved that would never happen to me. The reputation I got as a speaker in the next few years was more ideas per minute than any other speaker in the
mm.
business. More ideas, and that's still the reputation that I have. Even the best speakers will say, Brian has more ideas than anybody. Why? Because I want to give value. And that's so important. If our friends who are watching this are business people, entrepreneurs, and so on, is how do you become successful? And the answer is you help other people. So you define yourself as a helper. And what is the most important thing that people want is they want improvement. They want to improve their life, their work, their family, and so on. So when you speak, when you teach, when you sell a product or service, you show them how. There's many things that they can do, but this product, your product or service, will help them to improve their life, their work, their results better and than any other product at this moment. There may be something later, but your job is to sell improvement. People always buy based on comparison. Is I can buy your product, I can buy a competitor's product, or I can buy no product at all. It's always the big three. Yours,
Yes,
someone else's, or nothing.
nothing.
The only
Love it.
reason they buy yours is because they're selfish. All humans are selfish, and they don't think about what do I get personally, and they buy yours because they are convinced that they will get more and better results buying your product than they will anything else or keeping the money in their pocket. So your job is to demonstrate and think from the beginning. Even if you want to start a new business, you have to think, in what way is my product or service superior to anything else on the market? Because if it's not superior, people will not buy it. And if they do buy it, they will never buy it again. So
Mm.
think, how can I make it better, faster, better service, cheaper, easier? Keep thinking of how you could improve your customers' lives and keep focused on the customer. Your
You know what's
sales
so
presentation.
That's so interesting, Brian, because a lot of people that you spoke about that are worried about paying the bills and can't sleep at night, they're usually waking up and starting their day first thing, worrying about numbers and not really focused on service and taking care of, okay, I'm speaking to this client this morning and I have this meeting and that meeting. So I think a lot of it is their worry prevents them from really caring and showing up with a service oriented focus, right?
Yes, is the key is to in selling effectively is to first of all build trust. And without trust, nothing will happen because of the fear of risk. If without trust, people will say, well, let me think about it for a while. Let's talk again, maybe next week or next month or next year, um, because they don't really have enough confidence that your product or service will improve their life more than the cost. So what we do is we always focus on how we can help the customer to be better. And I've had a lot of debates on this recently, very early in my career. And someone was just telling me recently, this is your key to your fame in business. Very early in my career, a client was trying to book me for a major business talk, and my fee was $5,000. And he said, "That's a lot of money." At that time, it was. And how can I be sure that your talk will be any good? And I
Right.
thought quickly, because I was in fear of losing the talk. I said, "I'll tell you what, is I will give you an unconditional guarantee of satisfaction. If you are not happy, you don't have to pay." He said, "Would you do that?" I said, "Absolutely. If you're not happy, you should not have to pay." And he
Mm.
said, "Okay, on that basis, I'll hire you." And of course, then I had to work really hard to do lots of preparation. For a 1 hour talk, I'll prepare 8 hours, 10 hours, 15 hours. I'll
Wow.
read and notes and review, and I'll keep reviewing. I say that preparation is the key to success in our business. Preparation is everything. And in English, we say there is no such word as over prepare. You
Hmm.
cannot prepare too much if you want to do a good job and make a successful sale and so on. So I've guaranteed from that point onward, unconditional guarantee of anything, products, services, audio programs, books, everything, guaranteed.
Wow.
Interestingly enough, I read a study on guarantees, is the longer the guarantee, the lower the return rate. So I started off giving people a 30-day guarantee, and my sales went up. Then I gave and I got some returns. Then I gave them a 90-day guarantee. Sales went up and fewer returns. Then I read that if you give them a 1 year guarantee, you'll get almost no returns. But if you give them a lifelong guarantee, you'll get no returns at all. So from then on, I began to sell my programs from the stage and say, I will give you, I said, all of these programs are free. And everybody goes, yeah. I said, now this is a special kind of free. And oh, I said, very simple. I said, you buy the programs, take them home. If they don't increase your income more than the cost of the programs and turn out to be free, then you can give them back. And there's no time limit. You can keep them for a year. If you're not happy, just give them back and we'll give you your money back 100% with
Wow.
no questions. Now, what did I just do there? And this was the key, because I sold millions of dollars of product. The head of the National Speakers Association said, "Brian sells more product than God." I always like that. It sells more product than God. So other speakers used to come to my seminars to watch me sell my products. What I did is I took away the fear of risk 100%. And
Right.
so here's all the benefits that you'll get, but there's no risk. You
Right.
have to pay for them in advance, but for any reason you're unhappy, there's no charge. Now, I speak to lots of business owners. I say the same thing. How can you give a no risk guarantee? Well, however, don't worry. People say, well, what if they take advantage of you? No, no, people don't want to take advantage of you. They just want to be sure that you are going to keep your promises. That if
Yeah.
you say that your product is good, they just want to be sure that it's
That it
true.
is. Yeah.
And it is. And we just always give unconditional sweeping guarantees. And from that day onward, I became one of the busiest speakers in the world. And I live in a big house in an expensive neighborhood, and my kids all went to private schools and so on. But the key was take away the risk. We call it risk removal or risk reversal. Is they say, here, you take the product, I'll take the risk. You have no risk, because if you're not happy, you can give them back anytime.
Wow.
And there's one more technique that I want to share with our friends. It's called better than a money back guarantee risk reversal, which means this is you say, if you take and buy my product and use it, I'll give you a free gift. It could be a book, it could be anything, but I'll give you a free gift. And if you don't like my product, you give it back and I'll give you 100% return and you can keep
Keep
the
the
gift.
gift.
Yes, this is better than money back guarantee. It's risk reversal. And it's amazing how effective this is. And it doesn't cost anything, especially if your product is good. If your product is good, you don't get any returns. We never get returns. We calculate accurate records. We calculate that we get 1 in 400 products return. 1 in 400.
Wow, that's incredible rate. That's amazing.
And so our friends who are listening to this, sometimes if you're very close to doubling and tripling your sales, all you have to do is think, how can I remove the risk from using my product or service? And just think about that. So there's no risk.
Right,
There's
because if you put yourself in their shoes, you would probably feel the same way. Like when a guy wants to change my tires, I'm thinking, what's the risk that this tire is going to blow out in the next, how do I know it's going to work? How do I know it's effective? How do I know it's better than the other tire? Or how do I know it's better than, not doing anything at all? You're
yes.
absolutely right. Yeah.
And all people want is to be assured that you give them what you promised. So we talked earlier that your brand, your reputation is the promises you make and the promises you keep. And if you keep
Yes.
your promises, they will buy from you again and again, and they will tell their friends to buy from you as well.
Yes. And how many times do you get? I mean, I always say that if you want to kill me, you don't need a gun. Just put me in the audience with a speaker who's just taking me nowhere, and I'll self-destruct. But yeah, you get so many speakers though that honestly they overpromise and underdeliver, and they
Yes.
underprepare clearly.
Yes, the key to your success and my success is that we always focus on changing behavior. This is really the only value that you get from a book, a seminar, audio program, is you learn ways to do things differently
Different.
to get you better results. It doesn't have to be a lot. When I first began speaking, I was trying to develop a seminar that would attract a lot of salespeople, and I came up with a title called "The Art of Closing the Sale." And it was 24 techniques for closing the sale. And I designed a workbook, 3-hour seminar, and showing all the things you had to do up to asking the customer to buy, closing. And then I gave 24 different techniques that you could use. No pressure, no tricks, just 24 ways of reaching out and asking the customer to buy. And that seminar, even today, people say it transformed their life. It made them rich. They made so many sales. They earned so much money because these techniques are really simple. Let me give you an example for our friends. Um, there's 2 ways of asking for the sale that are the simplest of all. There's many others. The first one is called the invitational close. This is considered to be the #1 best closing technique in the sales business. And the invitational close is where you invite the customer to buy. You say, do you have any questions or concerns that I haven't covered? And the customer says, well, no. They said, then why don't you give it a try? Why don't you give it a try? And those words are very important. And it's amazing how many people will say, well, yeah, why not? Why
Why
not?
not?
Because it's guaranteed. The second closing technique is you say, Mr. Prospect, do you have any questions or concerns that I haven't covered? You always have to be sure that the customer does not have what is called a lingering objection, something in the
Yeah.
back of their mind that's holding them back. So ask, is there any question or concern? And they say, well, no, I think you've covered everything. You say, and then the next step is this. Well, then the next step is this, and which is closing the sale, signing the document. sending it out to you and so on. So those are 2 of 24 techniques. Why don't you give it a try? And well, then the next step is this. It's amazing how many people will double and triple their sales just with those simple questions. No tricks, no gimmicks, mm, perfect honesty, and backed by your guarantee of happiness, your assurance of success. So
And
so those are some
I think what you've done is you actually given more than 2 techniques, because you also did something really beautiful, which is, do you have any other concerns or issues that I have not addressed? Because as you
yes.
said, if they have lingering issues in the mind, when they say, why don't you, buy? Or, the next step is they're thinking, no, you didn't answer this question yet. I'm still
Right.
concerned about this. That's a
You keep
beautiful, beautiful way to shake it all out.
Yeah, you keep inviting them to give you any questions or any problems that they may have that may be holding them back, and then you answer them. But always, it's the most important part of selling is building trust, and
Mhm.
you build trust. There's a rule. One of my favorite rules of selling is that listening builds trust. Listening builds trust. Talking does not build trust. I used to think when I was selling that if you talked a lot, you'd make sales, and it's not true. So
Mhm.
now I find if you ask a lot, you get a chance to listen. And when you listen, you build trust. And you can actually build this. They did a 22-year, multi-million dollar research with thousands of customers to find out exactly the mental process that people go through. And what they found was that if you start to talk about your product before you have built a level of trust, the customer will turn off. They'll just, they won't, they say, well, let me think about it. I'm really busy and so on. So you have to keep going until the customer trusts you. And you do this with questions. And at a certain state, the customer will say, well, what do you have? Tell me about your product or service. The customer will actually say, it's time now. Our level of trust is high enough. And now I am open to your message. If you try to sell before you have built trust, then nothing will happen. I remember that sometimes they say you have to have 2 or 3 meetings before you build enough trust that you can start to talk about your product. And
Yeah.
I've seen some of the best salespeople in the business will do that. First time they meet with you, they don't even talk about the product. Second time they meet with you, they will sense that they have a positive relationship and so on. Only then will they talk about their product. And so talking too soon will kill the sale. Um,
Don't you find that people can talk their way out of a sale?
oh, yes,
Because they're
absolutely.
like right there. Like, do you have any other concerns or issues that I haven't addressed? And then if that person says yes, instead of moving on to the next step, they'll just talk some more.
Yes. And here's the other thing. You can talk yourself out of sales all day long, but it's not possible to listen yourself out of a sale.
That's right.
That's why listening builds trust. And how do you get a chance to listen? You ask good questions and lean forward to the answers. Another thing you can do is if you ask good questions, is take notes. You say, may I write this down? People are really flattered when you ask if you can write down what they say. And they talk even more because they like the idea. They feel more important. They feel more valuable. You raise and build them up by asking them questions and asking if you can write them down. It sounds very simple, but think of your own self. If somebody practiced this with you, you would be flattered. You'd be happy. You'd say, wow. Anyway,
You
these are
know,
some of the things
no,
that
this
we
is this
keep
is magic.
selling.
It's magic.
Go
It's
ahead.
not. It is simple, but simple doesn't mean it's not powerful. I can tell you for a fact that I've had coaching clients that have literally taken notes. Like when I say to them something like, "You can't change your past, but you can change the impact it's having on you." And they're like, I want
Yeah,
to capture that. And I'm like, I give them a moment and I capture it. And it is flattering because you realize you've given them something that they value and they appreciate. And so why not, reverse the tables? And so why not ask them to take notes and listen carefully? But I think it really comes down, because I've seen this in the healthcare, field, being a chiropractor for 24 years. And as I mentioned before we hit record, that I'm working with a hospital group and I'm coaching, from the C-suite down. And I just find that this word care is so powerful, because if you care enough about people, you will listen when you ask those questions. And you
Yes.
will take notes, whether it's mentally or actually writing it down on an electronic or on paper. But I just feel like a lot of people are so caught up in their own issues and their own problems in life. It's hard to care about what's going on around you and the people around you that actually need you and need your products and need your service.
Now, here's another trick, if you like, or secret, is if you don't take notes in your first sales conversation, as soon as you get out of the presence of the customer, sit down and write down everything that you remember, everything
Mm,
that the person said, write it down, because your mind will lose all this information. I say it's like cigarette smoke in a huge room, a large room, it
mm,
disappears. So what you're doing, I would go in the bathroom and sit on the toilet, or I would sit in the waiting room and write down everything that I could remember that the person said. And once it's captured in writing, and only salespeople who want to be in the top 10 or 20% will do this. The others will say, oh, I'll just remember it. Then, before you go back to see the customer, review your notes. So you remember what you talked about. And when you say to the customer, the last time we talked, you said this and this and this, customers are very impressed and they like you more and they trust you more because obviously you care enough
to
to
listen.
take notes, to remember, and to review your notes. It's so important and it's so simple. Now,
Yeah.
you want to kill a sale? Here's a very guaranteed way. You see the customer the second time and you ask them a question, and the customer says, you asked me that last time you
Last
were
time.
here.
Yeah,
That's it.
I knew you were going there.
No trust, no care, finish, wasted your time, and maybe half a day of traveling and going there and meeting and everything else. You've lost half a day for zero because you didn't take notes. So all
Right.
successful salespeople take good notes. So much so that imagine that you're going to turn these notes over to some other salesperson who's going to continue working with this customer, and those notes give the new salesperson everything they need to know to continue to make the sale.
Right. And build that instant rapport. Yeah, they can pick up where you left off.
Yes, everything in life is relationships, and
Bingo.
relationships mean that people like you and trust you and want to do business with you. And here's another thing they found in this exhaustive study. They found that once a customer buys from you and they're happy, they don't want to waste time talking to another salesperson who's selling the same product. They're happy with what you're selling them. They're happy with you. And that's why some people, including myself, have relationships with customers that go on 10 or 20 years. Because once they buy from you and you keep your promises, it's just the easiest thing for them to do is just keep buying from you and to recommend you to other people. If they're happy with their purchase with you, the way that they can sort of prove that they made a good choice is by recommending you to other people. And that's a way of sort of reaffirming that they made the right decision. So these are all little things. These are just about less than 5% of what I teach in my psychology of selling program. And this is why people listen to the program or read it and become rich. Because the most important key to making more money is to sell more stuff, to sell more of your product or service. That's what you should be thinking about from morning to night. 80% of your time should be making sales, calling on customers, calling back on customers, visiting customers. 20% should be traveling time. And
Mm,
80, and it's got to be focused on customers. We say you need an obsession with customer service. That's all you think about every minute of every day is your customers. Anyway, so
Yeah,
we talk about this all day long, but we
100%.
need to get on with our
We,
day.
yeah, we are out of time, but I just want to end by saying thank you because I know for a fact that this is going to serve a lot of people. Simple, powerful, and as expected, you've over prepared because you're preparing your whole life for this, and you've over delivered. So thank you so much.
Thank you.